And hi, everybody. Nobody's quite here yet, but if you're watching on replay, welcome to Rick Snider's Washington, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, even hit the thanks button. Uh, now it makes the algorithm happy. Ooh, Steve's already here. Hey, Steve. On this, I'm just a touch early. I'm in my new office. So still got the whiteboard, got the sign, got Belsy back. Belsy's a little sick. And there's Belsy. And so it's not quite done, but you're starting to see the backgrounds. And there's my John Wilkes Booth bobblehead, my Abe Lincoln marker. I got this and that. So there's my lovely wife behind me there. So, kind of getting there. At least the lighting looks better this time. And just waiting for a few. We got a few people already showing up already. Okay. So I guess then I have to pretend we're getting ready to go. Okay. So, all right. Seems like it was a pretty good Monday for everybody. So, I had a tooth pulled and I had to be awake for it. And I was scared to death, but it turned out not to be a big deal. Who knew? It's like, well, that wasn't a big deal. Go ahead and take the rest of them. And it only cost me $50. That's crazy. But, I managed to stay awake for the game, and a pretty great game, So I was impressed. It wasn't a fluke. I mean, Philly made the mistakes at the end, and you know what? And in football, a lot of times it's about who loses games as much as who wins games. But that's not to diminish Washington's effort. They scored 5 straight drives. I mean, that's pretty good. All right, Skin Me Alive already wants to know, Heineke or Wentz? I'm down for Heineke right now. You ride this guy as long as you can. And if and when it does go bad or whatever, then you switch. But I wouldn't do it right now because chemistry can blow up on you. And right now, he's got the chemistry of a Rocky or Rudy. You keep going with this, Paul, since the Silver Line is now open, yeah, how do you like that? What? How many years late? Like 5, 10? Could they be thinking of building a stadium in Ashburn? Well, there is the one spot out there, Sterling, Ashburn, right on the line. It definitely opens the chances and it lessens my opposition for a stadium in the far suburbs if you're going to at least be on a metro line, which they weren't going to be in Woodbridge or Dumfries. But I really think once they sell the team that RFK is going to be back in play. I really do. And the DC government said no, but they were saying no to Snider, because they saw them getting nothing out of it, but Snider trying to suck all the money away. You get somebody bigger like Bezos who can create different things and for the neighborhood and all this kind of stuff, then it's worth it to them. Talking about putting public housing on the RFK site, come on, man. It would be a terrible site for public housing. Shoehorn in a big building or something. I'm sure Bezos could get an Amazon market of some sort there. I mean, there's lots of stuff they could do. And so I said the other day, I was on with the Junkies, I was going to retire at the end of the season. I just decided, man, I've had enough of watching a crummy football team and all that stuff. I just can't take it anymore. I'm just going to retire. But I'm not going anywhere now because things are going to get interesting in the next 6 months. And I look forward to covering it. I covered the last sale. I'm already digging in on some sources for the new sale. It's going to get interesting with all these heavy-handed billionaires. It's going to be a real fun thing to watch. And in the end of the day, this team is going to be so much better off. That there's possibilities now that there weren't before. That's kind of exciting. That's why I'm going to stick around. Robert G says, thanks for the analogy between Kilmer and Heineke. That was my 1067, the fan column, odyssey.com, if you want to read it. You can remind me a lot of Kilmer. Kilmer came, I think his record, what did it say? It was 11-29 lifetime. Had been through 2 teams, had been in a horrible car accident that cost him the 65 season. And yet George Allen saw something and said, come here. And it wasn't a popular move. And they benched Sonny. But Sonny had a losing record, not for his fault, but because the defense stunk. But Billy went on to win 52 games in Washington. He had like a 2-to-1 win ratio. So is Heineke like that? Kilmer wasn't the greatest quarterback. his footballs wobbled greatly, but he could win games. And that's what Heineke's kind of showing us is he can do this. Paul said, when it mattered doing the show, we did it just before this, so it should be up within the hour, unless Matt's goofing off. SB says, hey, back to you. As you see, I got my Rick Snider's Washington light finally back on. I moved a couple weeks ago after 35 years in one spot. It took me forever to dig out of the trouble. Still got plenty of boxes. If you got some time, come on over, help. And my whiteboard, I found it. And, Belsey's back. So the whole gang's there. If you want to hit the thanks button, I hate saying this stuff, but, it helps. Hit the thanks button, throw in a tip. It's like a tip jar. And all tips go to me. so not a charity. We're going to be feeding the old sports writer fund. I'm still really working part-time as a sports writer because the business went to hell quick. And the only reason I'm staying in the business is things like this, where I can still talk to fans, can still make my 2-minute reports you see in the morning and evening, still covering the team, still write for 1067 The Fan. So, all right, so Rufio is here and said, you won? Yeah. Hey, it was a great game. I have always said, when you look back on a season, what was the craziest thing to happen? It probably happened in an Eagles game. It always happens in Eagles games, good or bad, stuff like that. It does. And so that's the one thing that didn't surprise me. Oh, Bob's back. Good. Bob, glad for you to show up. Bob used to work for the team. Oh, what about my tooth? Yeah, I had a tooth pulled yesterday. It went well. It doesn't hurt anymore. That's the great part. So, and it's not one of my front teeth. Sorry. I may live in Southern Maryland, but we don't, so you won't notice it. All right, 70 Chips, a new guy coming in town. Thanks, 70 Chip. I'm glad you like the videos. Robbie G. Oh, the body bag game. Yeah, that was a good one. Dizzy Spider. Does Bezos' popularity fall since he laid off 10,000 employees right before the holidays while give Dolly Parton $100 million for being a nice person? Well, the $100 million to Dolly, that's a great thing because Dolly will make it count for people. Laying off 10,000 people sucks no matter when you do it. I was laid off 6 times in 7 years. Different papers and all. 3 of them in the pandemic. I can tell you it sucks when you've been laid off. And by the time the 6th one happened, I was so numb to it. It was like, whatever. Never got a severance check in any of those either. So I don't know. Bezos, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Paul Green, were the players more happy to play for Billy or Sonny? Well, they liked them both. Why didn't they put Sonny in when they were down in the Super Bowl? Allen didn't like Sonny for among other things. Just didn't like him. So there were different personalities. Not that Billy wasn't above goofing off and joking around too. They were an interesting pair. I really got to know both the guys real well, and they were a lot of fun. Slam and Jam in 87. Happy victory to you too. I do not understand why Ron Rivera remains non-commit for Heineke for the rest of the season. Just weighing options and playing games, and you don't want to tell everybody what your business is, so let him wait a day or two. But we all know that Heineke's playing the next game, and Carson can rest a little longer. SP with the tip jar. Thank you, SP. I appreciate that. Are we looking for a quarterback next year? I hate to say this, but probably. Probably. But I don't know. We'll see. It's still got Hal out there, too. So I'm not sure yet. But probably. When are we not looking for a quarterback in this town? Robert Parrish. I guess you play for the Celtics. Thanks. Is St. Juice to McCain switching moves going to be permanent or just as needed? I think more just as needed. St. Juice, pretty good game overall yesterday. Got called for a penalty. That's going to happen. But he's really the defensive staff's thrilled how well he's playing. So that's really a great thing. Let's see. Steve said, better work on that O-line first. You need about 6 first-round picks to help everything, fill all your needs. Paul, I think the Commanders fans going to show up Sunday for the Texans game down in Houston. I don't know. I've never. That's the one place I never went to because Houston Oilers moved to Tennessee when I covered that game years ago. And so I've never been. I don't know what the market's going to be like there. That's going to be interesting to see. James, SP, I was about to ask this one. Does Heineke re-signed in the offseason? Probably. I mean, he's going to be. I mean, will somebody offer him a starting job somewhere? I kind of doubt it unless he just balls out altogether. So this might be his best place for him. But then again, is the coaching staff going to be here? I mean, and that could change too. And that's something he needs to know before he resigns. But he will know before he resigns if it's Rivera and them staying or not by then, because free agency is not till March. So I don't know. I think there's too many balls in the air for that. Okay, Dizzy Spider 45 says, does the sale continue even through the Racine presser and lawsuit was widely panned? Did it unite Snyder's co-defendants with the league? Well, it did do that, but they were that already. I thought the Racine presser was a joke because, I mean, he threw darts at Snyder. That's fine. But the Consumer Protection Act? I mean, come on, man. That's when they claim there's vitamin D in there and there's not. I mean, that's not what this is. So that was crazy. That was political grandstanding at its best. Let's see, Bob. Am I right that both Carson and Taylor are free agents? No, Carson is not. They have 2 years on his contract at the team's option, and they can cut him with no cap hit, but he's not a free agent. McBruno, oh, you're back. All right. Well said. A team should always be looking for a quarterback. Well, probably, unless you got a great one. So I give that up. All right, 70 Chip. My first game in person was Minnesota in 75 when you were 11. Oh, you're a kid. Okay. You're anybody younger than me as a kid. And you're 4 years younger than me. All right. So Vikings were 10-0. Remember, Ron McDowell blocked the last second pass. Yeah, the dancing bear. He was a cool guy. I didn't know him very well, but he was a cool guy. Paul says, does this win get Ron off the hot seat? Never thought he really was on it. I mean, people were mad, but, they're 5-5 now. And this is the time of year that Ron does his best coaching. And I don't say it very often, but they outcoached the other team. Especially Scott Turner came in with a game plan that worked. And, it was impressive to watch. And players still got to make plays. And you got to get a little lucky, like that late hit on Heineke, things like that. They got more of their share of breaks in this game. But that's okay. Over the course of the season, you're going to get some. And you're going to lose some, as they've already done. So, this one they got a couple. But it was a fair enough win. I mean, look at Joey Sly kicking 58-yarder. I mean, that's crazy on all this. All right, so let's see. Oh, we do have a special guest appearance. Hold on, here he is. Hi, everybody. Rick found me. I'm back. Andy always wants to come in my shows. For those of you who don't know, I'm always accused of being his doppelganger when I wear the red. But I've lost a little weight, so I'm not quite as body double. I'm as body double minus 20 or something. Anyway, at Andy. Let's see. What upgrade do I think the team needs? Asked Paul. Need an offensive line that's better. That would be my primary. All right, beige. I guess that's how you say it. My favorite color now because threw in the tip jar. Thank you, beige. I appreciate that. Brian Robinson's a man among men. I was really impressed with his game. He's getting better each week for two reasons. One, he's a rook, and rooks are going to get better each week. And two, the poor man was shot twice in the leg, had to sit around for a month. I mean, that's all a miracle he's even playing. And so it's taken time to get his legs literally back under him and learn the game and do all these things. And, he's a banger. He's the hammer that they needed in the middle. And I really thought he was going to be really good this year. And I had to scale back expectations after what happened to him. But this is a good player, so they're going to be all right with him. Robert says, next two games are very winnable. Woo! Okay, bell's back. I got to use it. So we'll see what happens. 7-5, they could do it. I mean, really, I looked at the rest of their schedule. The hardest game maybe is San Francisco. Playing the Giants twice in a row, although the Giants have to play the game in between. Washington's on a bye, and they're not. So that's kind of weird for that. But that's going to be interesting. Steve said, Robinson beast mode touchdown was a great example of the effort they put in that game. Yeah, I mean, it was impressive. How about their Commanders? Yeah, Marvin. They're 5-5, and they have a schedule that they can do well in. They can win. We've got 7 games left, so 4 or 5. So I get you to 9 or 10 wins. That could be a playoff. It should be a playoff if you're at 10 wins. Let's see. SP agrees with Beige. All right, I like when you guys agree with each other. Better than yelling at each other. Let's see, Bob. Let's see. So was this game a fluke? Oh, Bob asked, was this a game of fluke by Scott, or do you think he finally learned something from North? Well, that's a good question, isn't it? Ask me again next week. Let's hope he's learned something on there. Marvin says he thinks the last wild card goes down to week 17. Wouldn't surprise me. Usually does. Versus the 49ers. Yeah. And I remember they won their division title in 99 against the 49ers in the very end of the season. So Foom asked what I think about Heineke, Howell, Wentz. I think Heineke right now gives them the best chance to win. I think Howell's a good long-term prospect that probably doesn't play this year. And Wentz just kind of got caught in the middle of things again. That's not his fault. Paul wants to see the run game if you get the good O-line. Well, that's what Robinson's here for, you know. I think 70 Chip says, found your identity. Run. You know, every game is different. They faced a team that wasn't good against the run. So you should try and do that. And you didn't get down by a whole lot, so you didn't have to pass all the time. If they can run the ball regularly, that means they can be in the games. That's a good thing. Let's see. I'm not sure what happened on that one, Rufio. Okay, SB, I'm afraid to get my hopes up for the playoffs. Yeah, I know. But hey, I always say sports is about dreaming big and having fun. So enjoy the ride and hope for the best. Cannabis beat the undefeated Steelers at time and the undefeated Eagles. That's right. If it's a Monday night game in Pennsylvania and you're undefeated, Washington's coming for you, fast and hard. Paul, did we win that game yesterday if Wentz was a starter? No, because he's too much of a statue, and I think the pass rush would have got him. I mean, Heineke escaped 3 times throwing the ball away that I'm not sure Wentz would have. So I don't think they would have won that game with Wentz. Steve, if you told me 99, I'd have to think of Norv's years as the good old years. I'd call you crazy. Yeah, kind of back at you. I mean, I was a beat writer back then too, but I had a lot of good memories from those times. Wasn't a lot of great games, but it was a lot of good memories. Mojo Daddy, Taylor Heineke or Sammy Ball? That's a close one. I'll say Sammy Ball by a million. At least with everything. I never saw Sammy play, but Sammy was considered the greatest player ever. That's what Sonny tells me, so I'm going with it. Do I think Taylor gets a contract extension? Asked Marvin. I think he'll probably be offered one, but it's tell me who's the owner, who's the coaches. Maybe he wants to go to another opportunity. There's a lot of balls up in the air about that. It's too early. All right, Rufio, if the guy's name is in the chat, was it directed to him? I don't know how that works. Tell you the truth. Justin, love me on Twitter. All right, left hand up. That's my left hand. Yeah, looks like my right hand. No, it's my left hand. Okay, road to 7-5, says Kevin. Yeah, I agree with you. Any good stories on late great Dave Butts, says 70 Chip. One thing I'll say about Butts he was an enormous dude. In the locker room, both he and Jacoby and Manley, man, they were big dudes in that locker room. I saw Butts like years later in Frostburg, and he had lost so much weight, I didn't even recognize him. So he really scaled down. He was a good guy. Bazooka says, great channel. Thank you. Appreciate it. We're just trying to do what we do. I tell stories. How tall was Sammy? Asked Paul. I'm not sure. He was over 6 feet, but I don't remember offhand. Bob, let's see. Okay, so Bob's talking to Steve about Norv, so you guys can read that. Lord Brunson, are you still in contact with those guys? Are you talking about Billy and Sonny and all? Occasionally, or the guys in the 90s, guy here and there, but I have my life, they have theirs. Steve Moody, Sammy was a great DB and punter. That's right. That's why he was the greatest Redskin. He had all 3. Yeah, I don't know if Taylor can punt. Honest Fruit, you lied to me. It's Tuesday. Okay. What day did I tell you it was? We did this on Tuesday today because the game was yesterday. I'll be back next Monday. All right, Justin, if we beat the Texans and start Taylor, I will buy tickets to the Falcons game. Looking forward to seeing you. Hey, you probably get them halfway cheap. I mean, they're selling tickets for $33 a game at one point. Why not? Rufio is talking about Fat American. I like Fat American if you're out there because he knows how to hit the thanks button. So thank you ahead, Fat American, if you're out there. Is Dave's son still in the DMV area? Dave, as in Dave who? I forget. Okay. In your opinion, does Washington make the playoffs? Asked Bazooka. Yes. Why not? You know. Okay, Lord Brunson. You know, Lord Brunson, I'm a Scottish lord. So I have my own kingdom. It's not very big. It's about this big. If you mention my name, you get a free glass of water. But I do have my lordship there. Matter of fact, there's my picture behind me right there. That's my Scottish lordship photo. All right. Steve says, oh, he's talking to Bob. Okay. Bob's a great guy. You guys should enjoy Bob. He knows a lot. Great person. Still one of my friends from 20 years ago is a beat writer doing that. There's so many people I've seen go through Redskin Park. It's hard to keep track of most of them. Somebody says a lot of hi, so I'm not sure what that is, but okay. Hi back on all that. Wow, we're 20 minutes in already. If you're looking for a Christmas present, I wish I could say it's on the shelf here, but 100 things Redskins fans and also 100 things Commanders fans should know and do before they die. You can get it from Monumental Thoughts. You can get the Commanders book. Redskin book, I don't have much anymore. All right, Honest Fruit still has love for me. Thank you, Honest Fruit, and threw and hit the thanks button. I appreciate it. The thanks button really does help. And man, who else can you make happy for $2? Who else is begging you for money that you can give $2? I guess I could stand out on the road, at those lights, and just walk between cars. Those guys make good money, believe it or not. I had a friend who's a cop, tells me somebody good begging for money on a corner on a weekend can make $300 a day. That's crazy. All right, who's the best punter I ever saw? Turk, Roby, Way, or someone else? Frank, that's a good question. They were all really good. Roby was just here, I think, for a year, but made the Pro Bowl. I thought Turk was pretty awesome, but I would say Way was the best in the end. He's had a lot of years and really done well. Bob asked, is Dotson completely healthy? Well, I don't know if you're ever completely healthy, but he's healthy enough to play. And it didn't seem to hurt his hamstring again, so he should be okay. Some weird name asked, did I serve in Washington? I'm not sure what you mean by serve. I live in Washington. Any chance we snag Lamar if the Ravens don't sign him? Asked Justin. Kind of doubt it. I mean, I've heard that talk, but I don't think so. When I fire sale the Caps early next season, then rebuild, asked McBruno. Nah, because as long as you have Obi, you have a chance to do something good. And you want the team to be good so people can watch Obi. So I don't think so. Let's see. Steve Cox. Oh, yeah. I was been saying that. Steve Cox was a nice player. They say panhandling in New York, you make 500 to 1,000 a day, Rufio says. I knew bartenders at the racetrack years ago when I covered horses. They were making 1,000 a day in tips. Really makes you wonder why you have to go out there and work hard when you can do this. I have a buddy who was driving the bus for patrons at Charlestown to the far lots to get their cars from the casino. He'd make 500 to 1,000 a night. I mean, why are we working for a living? Mojo says, if Heineke's continuing to win, what do we do with Hal? He sits and waits. There's nothing else you can do. Rudy says, congrats on beating Philly. Thanks. I heard Philly was all upset on radio this morning. Cap should build a new stadium, asked Justin. I think there is one coming. I think there will be a new arena in town in the next 5 to 10 years. And if it's not the RFK site for football, I think it'll be for the Caps and Wizards. They'll move whatever we're calling a Cap One Arena. I can see that move into the edge of town. Statues of Obi, Justin says. Yeah, why not? He's been the best ball player in this town for a long time. Rudy, Philly deserve that one? Well, hey, they deserve him. Do I know Wilma? Asked Lord Brunson. Wilma Flintstone? I don't know. Who are you doing? Well, what other Wilma is there? Steve, thank you, Steve, throwing in a tip. Could I do one video a week telling Snider how to run the team in Jack Kent Cook's voice? By God, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? He's a bloody idiot. By God, why are you doing my voice? Nobody knows what I sound like anymore. I used to do Cook. He was a lot of fun to torment. He could give it right back. Yeah, but you do something, he'd get mad and chew you out. But that's okay. It was part of the fun. Honest Brood, I feel like Rivers is the coach that points the team in the right direction. I'm sorry, Rivera, but not the guy taking it to the mountaintop. I do agree with that, Honest Brood. I think Ron's a good man, a decent coach, but it's a difference to get to the top. I'm not sure because he starts so slowly every year. I don't think so. I kind of have to agree with you on that. Lord Brunson's giving me a weird face. Lord, I don't know. I guess maybe you're not a Scottish Lord like me. We're the best. I wanted to know if Dave Butts' son is in DC. Oh, okay. Paul, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Rudy, I mean, they deserve that loss. I hate Philly. Okay. Okay. Who doesn't outside of the people in Philly? Let's see. Oh, Rudy's a Cowboys fan. Ooh, Rudy. Who hurt you as a child? All right, 70 chip. If the team isn't sold until March, sounds like we'll have to have the current staff back. Yes. You can't. There's no one you can hire. You can't work it out any other way. You just best to ride with this staff. Sheldon, digging more animated Terry. Yeah, Terry's really a special young man, not afraid to lead from day one, makes big plays so people listen to him. I really think it's good. Mojo wants to know if Terry's on track for the Hall. Well, you keep doing these stats for 15 years, sure. And if the team wins more, because the team has to win. That's the great thing about the Monday night victory over Philly. Everyone in the league saw it. So when it comes time for Pro Bowl voting next month, that kind of thing gets in people's minds about that. Because players have part of the vote and coaches too. They don't get to see a lot of games, but they see the Monday nighters. And that's where reputations can live or die. So this will help. If Heineke were to give him the playoffs, based on like that Monday night win, he might actually get a shot at making the Pro Bowl. So I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, let's see. Bob says, why does Leon just want a new arena? Well, he hasn't said that, but I think he could use the one downtown for the sports betting world and maybe start a new arena with a lot more perks, which means you make a lot more money. Maybe at the RFK site or something. We'll see. Rudy's just here to give respect. Well, we respect that, Rudy. You didn't even wear your Dallas jersey, so that's great. I'm always amazed at camp when people would come wearing their Cowboys and everybody would boo them and they'd wave to the crowd. I thought you had a twisted childhood, man. That's all I can tell you. Besides stress, who makes the Pro Bowl? Well, John Allen, for Paul asking that. John Allen, Deron Payne, I think has a shot. Terry could make it. It's hard at receiver. It's a really hard one. Let's see. Trying to think of anybody else. Probably not. But maybe. We'll see. Who's the biggest disappointment this team has ever drafted in my eyes? Says Honest Brute. A guy named Andre Johnson. They traded up at the end of the first round to get him sometime in the mid to late 90s. Never played for him. Let him go after a year. When does Bezos make his bid for things? I was just asked. I hear January. All right, Dizzy. Oh, thank you, Dizzy, for throwing some money in. Congrats on the beautiful bride picture up there. That's right. I have the prettiest Mrs. Snider in town. We've been married 42 years. Does the sports reporter profession help land the pretty girls, or did you do it on given looks and personality? We actually met when we were 17. I didn't go to the same high school, but we worked at the same restaurant. And she didn't know how beautiful she was. And I got lucky. What can I tell you? She's been a wonderful wife. Best decision I ever made. Eric, I still believe in this team and the rest in peace, Dave Butts, Coy Gibbs, and Coach Rivera's mom. Yeah, that's sad how we keep losing people. I wish them all well. CM Martin, predictions on the fan split Atlanta game. I think it'll be a lesser attended game, probably about 50-ish. God, it can't be many Falcons fans. So I'll say 35,000 Washington fans, 15,000 Falcons fans. They come out of nowhere sometimes. I mean, I've seen other teams I never thought would send fans do. But that's a 70% of the crowd would be Washington. I think that's possible. Sheldon, we're going to get the tight ends more involved in the passing game. Well, I mean, you see that block that Logan Thomas threw, he got a touchdown. They're not catching the ball as much, which surprises me, and it's partly health related. But those dudes are out there blocking, and that's just as important, So They have enough options on the passes that they don't have to do tight end. I'm surprised that they haven't, but the receivers have done well. I mean, Samuel, Dotson, and McLaurin have all played well out there. So you don't need to go to plan B. But a good tight end will bust the defense. So maybe it's just kind of one of those things, and it'll happen a little later on everything. All right, halfway through the show. How you like that? I'm on News Channel 8 tonight if you're in Washington area, whatever that is, WJLA Channel 8 or whatever, however they call it now, with doing the sports talk show. So after this is over, you can go watch that. We've taped it. So, all right, let's see. Don Allen, was the old locker room like after a win? Drinking, smoking? I don't remember seeing players smoke in the Redskins' old locker room. I did in the Caps. Guy like Al Iafrate, he'd light his cigarettes with torches. God, was nuts. Drinking, not so much in the locker room. Usually they get out of the locker room and head to somewhere and drink. And still do. You want this team to win at least one more game before Gibbs passes. One more Super Bowl, I'm sure you're saying, Mojo. Yeah, I mean, Joe lost both his sons now. You know, Corey passed, and we found out during the game about 10 days ago, where it was, 8 days ago. Lost both his sons at 49. Man, I can't imagine. I have kids. I can't imagine. Bob, did I find it strange that Danny's name was not mentioned last night, nor was he shown in the visitors box? I'm sure he was there. I didn't know that they didn't mention his name. I don't know. I was kind of busy, but I would have guessed they would have. But okay, if you say they did and they didn't. Everybody's just trying to distance themselves from Dan now. Paul, how great would it be if you bought the team? Well, I think it'd be great because I'd be rich as all instead of begging for tips here for the thanks button. But yeah, so I can do that. Yeah, if I was owner of this team, hot dogs are $2, beers $5. Because you don't need that money. You're making all the money off TV. Right. So why are you soaking the crowd for even more? Steve, when's the next seasons of Discontent up? That's my podcast. I do 15 minutes with my buddy Matt, and it will be up as soon as this is over, I think. We taped it earlier. Matt's just running it through the system and all right now. So it'll be up now as soon as we're over, and Thursday morning. We do 2 shows. So usually we do on Monday and Thursdays. This week was a little weird. Paul, did John Riggins used to drink in the locker room? Not that I ever saw. Now, they drank in the shed, and that's a few steps away, but technically it's not the locker room on there. So I didn't, but I wasn't watching. I was a young reporter back then, too. I was in my, mid-20s back then. I was a punk kid. Doug Williams one day said, I didn't recognize you from the old days. I'm like, I had hair, Doug. I looked a little different when I was 27, than I do now. Jeez, you guys didn't age well either. So Mojo asked, hey, you got her name spelled right. I spell Snider with an I. He spells it with a Y. For all his money, he can't spell his name right. So, Mojo, you got it right. So thanks. We're not related because we spell our names differently. I will be so glad when this is over and I don't have to hear that dumb joke anymore. Oh, are you related to Dan Snider? Kind of hard when your name's spelled differently. But I used to hear that all the time. Not so much anymore. Bay says Doug's daughter's a high basketball prospect. I didn't know that. Okay. So good for her. Athletic genes, man. They help. My dad was 6'5" and played a year in the Yankees minor league baseball system, but I didn't get the height. So let's see, Bob. As you know, you don't have Channel 8 down there. I was on with who was on with? I was on. Now I won't remember because he got me. Glenn Harris is retired, so it's not him anymore. Why can't I remember Scott's name? Oh, sometimes if you get old, names stick on you. I'll think of it in a second. That's a scary part. When you get old, sometimes you get stuck for a name. I actually keep the roster of every game card. I keep it right here in my clipboard. So sometimes I'm just sitting there writing, going, what's the guy's name? And I'll go, okay. It's getting old. What can you do? Getting old sucks, by the way. I don't recommend it. Paul, why didn't Dan go after Andy Reid when he left Philly? I don't think he liked him, among other things. And I don't know that Andy wanted to come here. Let me ask. Hold on a second. Andy, why didn't you come here? Because you guys sucked back then. I hated you, and I hate you now. Whoa, Andy, that's a little harsh, man. I know. Anyway, bye. Andy's just making a passing through here. As I unload boxes of my move, I'm hoping to find Santa. He usually came by and did a few shows. I don't know what box he's in. I guess I better hit some air holes for him. Let's see. Grandizer says, legend has it that I was a reporter when Sammy played. No, I was not. I mean, Sammy played 1937. That's when my parents were kids. I'm not that old. Do I think the team will try and sign Lamar Jackson? Asked Sizzle. No, I just don't think they will. I know I get asked that a lot. Yeah, he's in Baltimore, but that doesn't matter. I mean, I think he'll go. If he doesn't stay, he'll go wherever he can find the money. I don't know that Washington has the money for this right now. Believe it or not. Now, your new owner comes in. If it can really be done before free agency, then these dudes might go for some kind of crazy big money. But that scares me a little bit because that's what Dan Snyder did coming in, not knowing any better. And anybody walking in is just brand new to the door. So I don't know. Do Krampus this year? I don't know. Who's Krampus? I forget. Grandizer. You have to tell me who that is. So, all right. So don't forget, hit the thanks button for all you new people passing through. Most people listen to about 10 minutes of the show, analytics show, sometimes 15. So we get the reoccurring questions because it's just a new wave coming through. So hit the new wave, hit the thanks button for a few bucks. It helps an old sports writer. I got to have a new house, so got to buy a new mower. Got 3 acres in the back, and one of these days I'll show it to you. It's nice open land. The deer like to come by. I'm not happy about that. They're not paying rent, jerks. My neighbors tell me the deer come in their garage sometimes. All right, well, that's why I don't close the door. All right. Do I know what the salary cap is for next year, as Paul? No, I haven't seen it yet. But it'll go up. It's going to be some more TV money coming next year. This whole thing with Europe, you see that German game? Ooh, they had 3 million requests for tickets for the game in Germany this Sunday. 3 million requests for one game. NFL is running toward that. I think by 2025, 26, you'll see teams in London, Germany, somewhere else. They might do 4 or 5 teams. Did I answer my own poll question? How many games will the Commanders win now? I haven't answered my own poll question. I do a poll every day on Rick Snider's Washington on YouTube. If you haven't done it, about 600-700 people often vote every day. So I try to come up with something interesting for you. Some days better than others. I don't know yet. I would say probably around 9. That was my thought of entering the season. Then I was thinking not, and now maybe they will. How many does Heineke start the last 7 games, says Brady? Well, he's been healthy. Even though he's got banged up good, he's managed to hang in there health-wise. If I say 7, that means Carson doesn't come back. And I don't know. That's iffy. Heineke keeps playing as long as he plays well. Let's see. Augustine the King's here today. Good. Seeing Salute back. Mojo's saying 10 wins. I mean, they could win 10, but that means you're going 5-2. I think 4-3 might be more likely, but we'll see. Dizzy, is there enough talent to field 4 more NFL teams? Well, there's not enough quarterbacks now to fill the league, but they say it every time the expansion comes. So, sure, why not? Krampus is a weird figure and some kind of folklore around Christmas I've never heard of. Okay, I'll have to look that one up. He helps Santa Claus. Okay, well, all right, I'll look that one up. I never heard that one. Santa hadn't come to my house in a long time. So, he leaves all kind of stuff. All right. Do I think the NFL will move the Chargers to Oakland? Man, wouldn't that be interesting? They just build a new stadium and then you want to move them? I don't think they move to Oakland, but somebody, I think Jacksonville could go over to Europe, that franchise. Nobody would care. Um, but most of the NFL franchises are pretty entrenched. It's hard to move. I don't see where Oakland's not offering anything. They're not offering stadiums and all that. They're going to lose the A's before long. I drove by that stadium a few years ago. What a piece of crap! I covered a game there years ago. Piece of crap. But man, you just can't believe that's a major league facility. Is Heineke the guy? SP. Um, Short term, yes. Long term, probably not. Too bad because I like the guy. Three biggest reasons for the winning streak, asked Brady. Heineke, better defensive line, better defensive secondary would be three offhand. Granddaddy, you got everything. Santa has nothing you already have, right? Probably. Yeah, I mean, my Christmas presents are old people stuff, clothes. My wife gives me clothes. I mean, what do I need? I got everything I need. If you have your health, quite honestly, you have everything. Take that from somebody who almost lost it this year. And when you're laying on the ground, they're thinking you're stroking out. You don't really wish for material things. You just want to feel okay again. And I do. And I didn't have a stroking yet. It was my back. My back, of all things, a disc fired into my nerves and made me go numb. And it hadn't happened since, knock on wood. So watch your back out there, literally. Augustine, is it fair to compare Wentz a game against the Eagles and Heineke's against the Eagles? Yeah, I think overall, fair enough. Heineke played better. But, 9 sacks, that was kind of tough. But some of those were on Wentz. Mojo, why does this franchise always have trouble with the quarterback? Because how many teams don't? I mean, handful of teams do, and that's about it. I mean, there's probably 10, 12 good quarterbacks. Very few great ones, a handful of great ones, maybe about 10, 12 overall are good. And then the rest are just whatever. So Washington's not alone there. But because they keep changing different coaches and different things like that over the years, it definitely hurt them. All 33 reacts, says Heineke's a starter going forward. Yeah, how far forward? I really don't know. It's a crystal ball thing. I mean, Ron talked about this today, and he basically just said we're going a game at a time right now to figure it out, and that's what he has to do. NFL is all short term. Let's see. Pause. Plus, do I think could have beaten the Eagles in that first game if Taylor was starting? Probably not, man. The Eagles were hunting for bear that day. I don't think so. Oh, Bob's got to go. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate you coming by on everything. Bob knows lots of secrets of the old days, like what I look like with more hair on there. So, all right, we still got a few minutes to go. Gosh, do I have any stories? Well, let me just say this about the sale coming up. I think there's going to be about 5 guys with serious money that aren't used to losing. I would definitely watch for Byron Allen, the Weather Channel guy who's got a lot of TV. Doesn't have quite the cash, but the NFL invited him to and urged him to try and get the Denver Broncos. So he's got the league support. That means something. The league owners have to approve the next owner. Not that they would say no to Bezos, but I'm not sure how much Bezos' heart's really in this. I'm not sure he's the one that's going to get it. I would make that an automatic on there. Paul asks, what's wrong with the Caps? I don't know. I don't get to watch a lot of the Caps, unfortunately. Let's see. Does new ownership keep the new name? It says keeping up with the Jones. Great question. I don't know. Wouldn't that be something? Think if Bezos said, I'm taking it back to the Redskins, and I don't care what any of y'all say. Well, the NFL could yell about it, but Bezos got enough pull here. He could probably do it. I mean, it's sure you'd see some holy hell raised, but I know a lot of fans would be happy about it. Who do I want to own the Commanders? Asked Paul. Byron Allen might be my choice, or John Henry. John Henry might be a good one. He's had, what's he own? Red Sox, Pittsburgh Penguins, a NASCAR team, Liverpool. They're supposedly selling for $5 billion. Could sell it to Dan Snyder, kind of swap franchises. I think John Henry or Byron Allen. John Henry might be my favorite at the moment, but I'm kind of open to that. It doesn't matter who I like; it's who they like. Mojo says Dave Butts and Jacoby were gentle giants. Yeah, largely I'd agree with that. They're big human beings, just built bigger than everybody. I was in line at Wawa today. There's a dude standing next to me. My top of my head wasn't even to his shoulders. He was huge. You always look at a guy like that and think, if I had to fight this guy, could I win? Could I survive? I don't know, man. I can't run very fast anymore. I once spent a day with Mike Tyson, covering the story with him. Going around, he was giving away turkeys to the poor in D.C. And Reverend Al Sharpton and King, Don King were there giving the speeches, and Tyson kind of hung back a lot. We just hung out. He seemed like a decent guy. I mean, I like Mike Tyson's been through a lot of hell, good and bad, but he's a decent guy in the end. I know people don't believe that, but he's been through a lot. But when I was sitting there looking at him, I thought, okay, I wouldn't want to fight this guy at a bar, but I wouldn't be as quick to back away as say George Foreman wants to fight you in a bar. You get the hell out that door. You look at that guy and go, ooh, we got to go. Tyson, not so much. And you think, wow, man, the killer in this guy that comes out must be just amazing for all that he's done. And now you saw he's doing some kind of cannabis thing, about biting an ear. You got to love the irony of that. I don't know. I judge Mike Tyson a little less harshly than you do. It was kind of a fun day to spend with him. Bezos gets the team. We change the name to Primes, says Augustine. Maybe. And I say it's, Amazon Field or something. And then Welcome to the Jungle played when they do player intros. And all of you guys dress as your favorite, Amazon animal. And it'd be a show. Be some fun. This is supposed to be fun. You guys take it too seriously. Let's see. Picture behind me. The woman is my wife of 42 years. And the guy, I think, is me in the corner. Oh, you guys want to see this? All right. Let me get it. Okay. What did Rick look like as a young reporter of 21? There you go. I still keep it. Yeah, I love them. I wish my mustache was that dark still. I wish I had the hair like this still. But yeah, I was a young reporter. I started when I was 18. This is what I looked like when I was about 21, something like that. Long hair, hippie. My hair used to be much longer than this. It used to be down the shoulders. But yeah, so there you go. I wasn't always the old man. Let's see. Can you only imagine a stadium if it's Bezos buys a team? Yeah, it's good. But it's going to be about money. It's going to be about, man, it's going to be expensive. And a lot of average people won't be able to get into that stadium. That's what I don't like. Does Chase Young play against Houston? I would keeping up with the Joneses. I would say yes. They want to see what he does on the field Wednesday, Thursday, but I would say probably. Steve said it called me a hippie. You got that right. I wish I had my long. If I could grow my hair that long again with it on top and all, I would. And it'd probably be all gray. I look like some aging hippie, but whatever. Love to see a picture of young Andy Reid, Paul says. Yeah, who knows? Okay, so Grain Irish says I have that 70s disco DJ look. Well, I did come to boogie. When I do tours, I often talk about the bump at the National American History Museum. I do tours there. We talk about things in the bump. Betty Ford used to love to do the bump, and I teach kids what the bump is. They don't know. It's kind of fun. Who is my favorite player to cover an interview? Asked Mojo. I get asked this all the time. The list is long. I like 99% of the guys. I like NFL players. They're motivated. They're goal driven. They're pretty good guys overall. You get a bad egg, but that's everywhere. But I like Shar Pradanish and I like Dan Turk on those years ago, and I like Heineke now. I think Heineke's really a fun guy. Terry's a great guy today. So there's a lot of most of them you would enjoy as neighbors because that means you're living with rich people. But all right. Who do I think Ron will pick for quarterback? I think he goes Taylor for now. Why not? Ride the hot hand. 70 Chip. Hate to see the new stadium domed. Well, yeah, but it's going to be you can't build $1 billion stadium for 10 football games a year. It's got to be domed. And they can do things like Final Fours and maybe a Super Bowl and all these other things. Maybe a retractable roof. I'm all for that. Honest Bruce said, I look like I DJ'd at a folk rock station in the 70s. Well, a horse with no name. Yeah. I remember. Why didn't that horse have a name? I mean, I know why the whole song's about that. Did I attend Woodstock? I missed it by, I think it was 2 years that I was in Woodstock area going to Cooperstown. So I didn't quite see it. I picture back so much memories of the 70s when we were cool, says Paul. Yep, got that right. That's why I put up some photos here. I mean, the one right here is a recent one where I became a Scottish Lord and I got the picture for it. And I'll show some other photos when I get it together. I don't usually show family members because all I need is one creep to say something bad and I will track you down. So try to avoid that. Let's see. Finally feeling good about the Commanders, Augustine. Okay. The name, whatever. The name is whatever. Okay. Granddad says, I do Andy Reid with the pick now. Do what a young Rick Snider would do in the same situation. You got to hit the tip jar. Thanks for that one if you want to see it. Look at my the big mutton chops, which you can't tell right here. They go down. They used to be bright red for some reason. I don't know why. My beard wasn't red, but my mutton chops were really red. So my mustache was red. Now everybody says you look like a porn star. That's what cool looked like back then. All right, and I'd actually lost some weight around 21. I was actually thin for 5 minutes until I found the next pizza parlor. Steve, if Saturday's going to work out in Indy, you think we should hire Theismann as head coach? No. You need a good high school coach, obviously. I knew Indianapolis would win the first game with Jeff Saturday because teams in midseason that change coaches always play their best the first game. Then they go back to who they are. And they may not win again. But, I knew they'd win that one. Augustine says, the left hand in the air, we're the Commanders. What is this deal with I know about the song and the left hands in the air, and I guess it's fine. So kind of a weird thing that came out of nowhere, but that's fine. I like things that are organic and are created by fans, not some marketing firm. It's stupid. So that's fine. If you want to raise your left hand in the air and do it, great. What's my number one pie for Thanksgiving, Frank asked? Pumpkin. No, I'm not even going to go over ginger snap, crumb, pear. Man, who hurt you as a child? Pecan. Who else hurt you as a child? It's pumpkin. And then apple. And really, both. Both. What happened to Robinson in that third quarter? He didn't do much running, asked Paul. Gave him a blow, I guess. And Gibson got some carries. Mix it up a little bit. Grandizer, everybody looked like a porn star in the 70s with a mustache. Yeah, pretty much. It was a good time. Got to remember the 60s were the free love decade. Carried over into the 70s a little. Mojo, can we quickly share Sam Huff sleeping on the grass story? Okay. Sometime in the mid-90s, we're in Frostburg. And the dining hall was right next to the dorms, which were near the field at Frostburg University, or whatever they call it now. And I'm walking back to my dorm, and there's Sam laying on the ground. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, Sam's had a heart attack or something. So I run over to him like, Sam, are you okay? And Sam just opens his eyes and goes, yeah. I said, what are you doing on the ground? He goes, taking a nap. I didn't have anywhere to go, so just thought I'd do it here. It's a true story. I'm like, Sam, you're going to give me a heart attack doing something like this. Come on up. I had an extra bed in my room at a dorm. I said, come on up and take a nap in my dorm. Jeez, that was good. But that was Sam. He was very down-to-earth guy. I love Sam. One of my favorite people. The NFC East could be open if the Giants lose, says Augustine. Correct. I think the Giants aren't as good. Those two games will decide who gets knocked out of the playoffs if one of them takes both games. Did I drive a cool van back in the 70s? No, I did not. The Dream Machine was a old Pontiac that could run like hell. An old Pontiac Catalina I had could do more than 100 miles an hour around midnight chasing my girlfriend who had a Mustang. So I know it gets over 100 miles an hour back then before it blew up on me. The Carter home run, the secondary is looking much better. Yeah, absolutely. The safeties are both playing great. St. Juice is a big upgrade over William Jackson. And I saw William Jackson ended up failing a physical, and so Washington gets no compensation pick for him in the end. They just get rid of the salary cap for him. That's fine. Steve says, "You think I drove a Charger? I wish. I could afford that. I just had a Pontiac Catalina, but that baby was an eight cylinder and it could run." Um, Paul said, what was the best rookie prank you saw on camp?" Wow, I saw a lot of them, but the best prank I ever thought was on an intern, where something happened. They told me he broke his arm, and they put it in a cast for a few days. And then they finally told him, no, he didn't really break his arm, and they took the cast off. Can you imagine? That was funny. I wouldn't have been happy about it personally, but yeah. And they used to do a lot of nonsensical stuff like that. They don't do any of that anymore. Grandizer was that young sports reporter that was always there when news dropped. Uh, nah, I mean, it took me years to be really good at this. It takes everybody years. The young reporters today, I think they write better than I did in their 20s, but they weren't as good a reporter. Because to be a good reporter, you got to be a mean son of a bitch, and go for it and not let anybody get in your way. And that's what I was. Right up to my heart attack when I was 42 and I had to lighten up a little bit. I still want to beat people in stories. I just don't get paid to do it as much. Chris says, love the content. Well, thank you. Left hand up. This one. People like me, guaranteed, put wrong hand up. Guaranteed. Durs. I hate that, Chris. I hate Durs. Durr. Sound like you're, unbalanced. Keep it up with the Joneses. Do we package picks with Duran Payne in order to move up? Well, unfortunately, Duran is a free agent after this, so you'd have to franchise him, and then nobody wants to. That gets really complicated and expensive. So they had their chance to trade him at midseason and didn't. Paul said, "Today I interviewed John Thompson. Much to my dismay, yes. John Thompson was a great basketball coach, but he was very mean to reporters. And he knew it, and he liked it. And okay, you got your side of this, I got mine. So I did not enjoy covering him, but that's not to say he wasn't a great coach. But nah. My favorite line one time, Bobby Knight was insulting reporters as he always did. And he said, I learned to write when I was 6 years old and I moved on. And I didn't get a chance to say this. I would have loved to have said, and I learned how to bounce a ball when I was 2 and I moved on. So what do you got? Bobby Knight. You don't see as many coaches like this anymore that used to be really insulting to you all the time because they can't get away with it in today's media world. I mean, a lot of stuff that makes a big deal, people say, "Oh, he said this to a reporter." Who cares? You know how many back rooms I've, MF'd with a coach at me, and I'm not afraid to give it back. But it's away from the cameras and all that. So I think nowadays they make a big deal out of some stuff. If you're going to be a reporter, you got to have thick skin. Did I cover Watergate at all? Asked Mojo. No, I was 12 to 14, but it helped influence my career. That's when I decided to become a reporter. George Allen and Nixon were friends. George Allen did a play for the team and lost 12 yards and took them out of field goal range. And George Allen and Billy Kilmer always argued about who took that play from Nixon. They both tried to not. But the truth was George Allen took the play from Nixon and made Billy run it. Grandizer, Bobby Knight probably tried to throw a chair at me. I actually saw a high school coach do that once after Bobby Knight did it. It's crazy. Okay, so GK8 or B, I'm sorry, B says he had a good offensive line, better than last year's, even after losing Sheriff. No, I wouldn't say that. And I don't know that they replaced Flowers effectively either. They've done okay lately. They've gotten better, but they're just average at best. I mean, when things if they get to the playoffs in that time of year, the O line is going to be more exposed than you're seeing now. Why? It's a long story, and we can't talk about that forever. Ooh, closing in on the end of the hour. So, if you got a question you want to ask particularly, fire away. If you want to hit that thanks button so I'll make sure I answer your question, or if you want to hear an Andy Reid or anything you want to do, hit the thanks button for a few bucks. Guess I'll be a whore for a few minutes and do whatever people want on this. If you want to see, want to see more pictures like this, we'll We'll do it in the future. If you're watching on replay, this show does go to replay. It's archived and it's always there as soon as we're done with it. So if you came in late, you can watch it all the way through, or not watch it all the way through, whatever you want to do. We do this every Monday, 8 to 9 Eastern, and it's been a good run. Everybody's enjoyed it, I guess. I've had fun. Now that I'm in my new den and all, it'll be a lot more comfortable than where I was. How do I feel about taking an O lineman in the first round if there's not a corner? Chris says. They could use one. I'm not sure where they're picking. All right. Paul says, did George Preston Marshall didn't want Dallas to have a team? Correct. He wanted, back then the Redskins had the entire South radio network. Dallas would be a Southern team, and he didn't want them, and they blackmailed him into voting for him. Mike says, where's McKissick? Injured. So I don't think he's going to play this week. Didn't work out for the season McKissick hoped. We'd probably been better off going to Buffalo. But how was he to know they would draft a running back, which would make Gibson take more of McKissick's plays? So things happen. So he'd probably been in Buffalo would have been a better deal for him on this. If you go to Mission Barbecue, get their big cups. They donate money to veterans causes. Mission Barbecue, great food, and they do great things with vets. And we need all the help we can get. Everybody needs all the help we can get on there. All right, it's 9 o'clock. Woo, we're almost to the witching hour. I'm usually like a band. I tell you I'm leaving, and then I tell a couple more songs. What would I say is the most important moment in franchise history? Moving to Washington, Mojo, instead of Boston. They would have failed in Boston. So moving to Washington would be their most important moment. And then winning over Miami for that Super Bowl, probably the biggest modern time. Dallas wanted to ban Hail to the Redskins. Paul said, actually, they bought the rights to the song from a former Redskin band leader who was mad about things. And they were going to just say, you can't play that song anymore unless you vote for us in the expansion. That's really true. That's how he got the vote. George Preston Marshall wanted that song back. His wife had co-wrote it, but the band leader had the rights to it, sold it, and now George was, behind, his left arm tied behind him, so he had to do it. It's all in my 100 things Commanders fans should know and do before they die. Go to monumentalthoughts.com. I'll sign it for you there if you want to, or you can give your money to Jeff Bezos and get it off Amazon if you like, and you won't get it signed. But Bezos will get more money so he can buy this team. I guess we should be happy either way on all of this. Okay, last questions. Let's see what we got. Still got a few people left. All right, so last question. Send them in. Feel free to send in your tip jar money. Thanks if you've enjoyed the content. I enjoy your money. I don't make that much off this show, but it's enough to do it. And if I got zero every week, I think I'd stop doing it, to be honest. But it's kind of an interesting way. In the old days, writers used to get good money to come to clubs and speak about the team. I never got any of that money. And other guys were like, I get $500 for coming. I never got any of that money. I never got a thing when I did those things. I just did them to do it for fans. That's kind of what we do here, but I could use the money. Let's see. Did I ever interview Dick Motta? Asked Paul. No. After he left, I interviewed, maybe it's Gene Shue, maybe he's the earliest one. I used to do Wes Unseld Sr., terrible coach, great player, terrible coach, who had practice would wing the ball at reporters' heads and laugh. You had to keep one eye on Wes for doing that. He just thought it was funny. The dude was rough. He was just a big guy. He was having fun, but to the rest of us, it was kind of scary. So Wes wasn't much of a coach, though. That's been proven. Rest in peace. He was a great player. Really enjoyed watching him. All right, so we're wrapping up. Last questions. Last call for alcohol. We'll be back next Monday night. Of course, I have the 2-minute shows every morning around 7 and also around 6, 7 p.m. Whatever's going on. If nothing's going on, I'll talk about something. And yesterday I had time to kill, and I talked about a poll about what was your favorite Thanksgiving side dish. and they did a poll in Maryland and said it was mac and cheese. And I was like, what? It's mashed potatoes. Oh, I love mac and cheese. Where did mac and cheese come from? Let's do tour guide trivia. Thomas Jefferson learned how to make it while he was ambassador to France, came back and taught Americans how to make mac and cheese and waffles and ice cream. Those foods come back from Thomas Jefferson. Also brought back almonds to start some of the almond groves around here. That's the kind of weird crap you learn on my tours, too. If you ever come to Washington, I am a licensed tour guide, been doing it 12 years. And you can go to Monumental Thoughts and contact me there if you like. Paul Green talks about the Big E. Yeah, Elvin Hayes. Him and playing with him and Unseld was awesome. Do I like stuffing? Absolutely, Paul. As long as it's not any weird, like pineapple stuffing. People do that kind of stuff. Nah. I just like regular stuffing. My wife hates it, so she'll never make it, and I never get to eat it. But I'm going to my daughter's for Thanksgiving this year, so maybe she'll make it for me. And ham. They make ham, too. My wife hates ham. So I don't get to eat ham as much. I'd rather eat that than turkey. When I was a kid, you couldn't get turkey most of the year. You got it at Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas. That was it. You didn't see turkeys in the store like you do now. I don't know why. I don't know what changed. But now you can eat turkey all the time. And down in Southern Maryland where I live, they stuff ham with greens from goes back a long time, Civil War stuff. But kind of cool. I'm not a big fan of it personally, but it's a big thing here. Let's see. And Granddaughter says, thanks for everything. I appreciate it. Bojo asked, do I see Cole Turner return to lineup? I don't know, man. I guess it's taken a while. He's had a lot of injuries this year. And that's too bad because I think Cole Turner can be a really good player. Washington Commanders fan, turkey, ham, or rib roast? Not as much of a red meat eater as I used to be. But I would take ham over turkey. Why can't we eat both that day? That's what I would say. But I'm not a big roast guy or red meat. Not too much. I eat a burger. I'll eat a steak once in a while. But that's about it. All right. I guess we've goofed off enough tonight. You guys, don't you have something to do? Let's see. Well, we had quite a good show today. We have quite a few people came. I appreciate all of that. I know you have choices with what you do. So, as they say, thanks for coming to see my show and all of this. Always appreciate the thanks. Hey, if we're going to talk about cake, all right, I might stick around a minute. Paul asked, favorite chocolate or coconut? Don't like coconut. So I sound like Grant now with all this stuff. Chocolate cake's a great one. Steve stayed, though. He was the first guy here. I guess he's going to be the last guy to leave. But thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Didn't see some of the usuals, but it's Tuesday. So we'll be back next Monday. Seasons of Discontent is also up on YouTube, where you see my podcast with my buddy Matt, and, of course, the daily videos. So I was knocking out content all the time, occasionally writing for Odyssey.com. You can read me there, among other places. So, all right. Last call. I'm done. So thank you all for coming. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you all pretty soon. Next week, we'll talk about Thanksgiving desserts next week, Paul. They're all pretty good. But I'll just say pumpkin pie from Costco is the greatest deal ever. It's like $5-6 or something. And you get a pie literally like this. I mean, who could beat that? So you got to get that. But get there like Monday, Tuesday. Don't wait till Wednesday for that. Even Costco only has so many. Paul says Jell-O. I love Jell-O as a kid. Jell-O pudding now for sugar-free. Those are good. But I don't know. I always am good for a good cake, too. You guys want to send desserts? That'd be great, too. Appreciate that. I'll send you my new address where I live if you want to send me a cakeogram or whatever they call it. And, Michael, well, now you're here, Michael. Michael's my moderator, and I thought Michael must have just forgot it was a Tuesday this week. You show up in the last minute. I'll give you that. Anybody want to say something bad? Michael's here now. He can block you. I was kind of hesitant on all this today. We didn't have any spammers or bots or any of that crap, Michael. So thanks for finally coming to my aid on all this. Wow. The internet was out. I had to switch internet, so now I'm a Comcast guy. Can't wait for my Christmas fruit cake. I like Christmas fruit, bro, the fruit cakes. I'm sorry. I didn't get the size being picky, So I I don't mind fruitcake. And a few years ago, I was introduced to pumpkin roll. Oh man, that's dangerous too. I try not to eat these things anymore because I try to be healthier and keep losing a little weight. But if you didn't see my Facebook or my Twitter feeds, 2 weeks ago I moved. I did 138,000 steps on my Fitbit, and last week I did 104,000. This week I'm on target for about 50. trying to, trying to. I have a couple medical appointments this week. Nothing bad, but it's slowing me down there. But anyway, um, yeah, pumpkin roll. It's underrated. It's those are great. Maybe somebody will have that. I have to ask. Now you got me all hungry. Okay. Anyway, so all you guys, I gotta go. It's 9:09. So thank you for helping out with everything. Um, and it's not the hardest time staying on a diet, Paul, if you're really into it, but it's never easy either, I guess. All right, and thank you, Ariel, for coming. Watch it on replay next. Send in any thanks money you want to. That's good. Buy the book. 100 Things Commanders fans should know and do before they die. And anything else you want to do to help me out. So thank you all. I'll see you next Monday, and then watch for the videos. And thanks, Michael, for coming. All right, bye, guys.